So I've been flooded, I mean, truly flooded with emails from viewers about what is going on with YouTube lately. And this has gotten so big that it is beyond the David Pakman show at this point in time. My recent coverage of what's going on with YouTube has actually been quoted and cited in a bunch of different articles about what is taking place. And I am actually going to show you a few of the emails I've gotten from viewers, which have confirmed to me that what's going on is even worse than I thought. And I thought it was pretty bad. Now, if you missed the story on Monday, the big picture is that YouTube has changed their algorithm over time, but acutely since the first day of May of this year, to drastically reduce the number of recommendations that it makes for viewers of YouTube to look at independent news and politics channels like this one, or like Sam Cedars, or like Kyle Kulinski's, and has instead shifted those recommendations to legacy corporate YouTube channels. So CNN has a YouTube channel. Fox News has a YouTube channel. MSNBC likewise has a YouTube channel. Also shifting views from independent channels like ours to the YouTube channels for these big late night talk shows produced by mega corporations with thousands and thousands of employees, or even tens of thousands at some of these huge mega corporations. I now have for you today an absolutely devastating image that sums this up in total, okay? So on Monday, I gave you some of the micro examples that are powerful, but they are anecdotal, okay? So example number one, I showed you the recommendation numbers over time, which show that at the same time that recommended views to my channel and to Sam Cedars and Kyle Kulinski's and right-winger Steven Crowder's channel, when those recommendations went down, the recommendations to CNN and Fox News and MSNBC went up. But of course, there are way more channels than just our 4 channels and those 3 corporate media channels. And even if I can find a bunch of these micro correlations, we really need more if we're going to make a broader claim about what's going on with YouTube. And I now have it for you, and it is devastating. Mark Ledwich compiled all of this data and built a tool to visualize it, and he sent this to me. This is not a channel-by-channel analysis. This is the aggregate of hundreds of the major news and politics channels on YouTube, okay? This analysis includes all YouTube channels with 10,000 or more subscribers that have 30% or more of their content as U.S. politics or U.S. cultural news and commentary. What you saw in the early part of the year is that there was a sort of balance. Around 40 to 50% of YouTube's news and politics recommendations were to independent channels like mine, and about 40 to 50% of YouTube's news and politics recommendations were for what we call TV cable legacy media that have YouTube channels. This includes CNN and Fox News and MSNBC. And then you see that at the end of March, and more acutely even at the end of April, beginning of May, that even 50-50 split imploded. And lately, 75% and climbing of YouTube's recommended news and politics views are legacy corporate TV cable channels, while only about 24.5% and dropping of the recommendations are left for all of the independent channels to split amongst ourselves. So it's really important to understand there are way fewer big corporate cable TV YouTube channels. So when the few when the few corporate cable TV channels are splitting 75% of the recommendations, and a ton of independent channels are splitting 25% of the recommendations, the degree of inequality is stunning. And this is the opposite of what YouTube used to be. This is terrible. This data is devastating. And in the meantime, the individual video demonetizations are exploding. This image we're putting up on the screen is from yesterday. 3 of our first 4 videos were demonetized, as you can see by the yellow dollar sign rather than the green dollar sign. We spent all day researching and producing those. 3 of them earn 0, despite getting lots of views, some over 100,000 views in the first 12 hours. The Trump child rape one, I understand, the others not so much. Now, for people who write in and say, David, don't you have a YouTube representative who can help you with what's going on? I do. She's been telling me for 3 weeks that she's, quote, waiting for more information. Historically, that means that after a month or 2, I'll get some kind of form letter that communicates nothing of value. Check out some of these emails from the audience. Nicole says, hello, just want to say I'm not getting recommendations for your videos from YouTube anymore. When I subscribed last year, I would get recommendations every day. Down to 0 now. Not a problem because I'm a member and I'm watching the full show every day. Still don't understand why YouTube doesn't mention you anymore. Your show is one of my favorites, worth every penny. Philippe says, for the past few weeks, I noticed that there are fewer and fewer of your daily videos showing up whenever I type David Pakman in the search bar of YouTube. It shows lots of older videos, though, but just 2 or 3 new videos now. Just thought I'd point out my experience if it can help you. Grit says, I am frequently watching the following shows: David Pakman, Ring of Fire, Secular Talk, and it looks like the algorithm is specifically after your show. I have subscribed to your show on YouTube and receive emails when you upload new videos. Even so, when I open a new window in YouTube, the recommendation line never includes your show, despite my frequent visit to your YouTube page and watching it. Samantha says, I'm constantly unsubscribed from your channel on YouTube. I've been subscribed for years. Notice your videos are gone. Go to your channel page, and the subscribe button is not pressed. I click it, am subscribed for a few days, then the same thing again. YouTube unsubscribes me from your channel. Simon says, I've been a member in one way or another for years. I'm also a YouTube Premium subscriber, and I listen to this show and other progressive shows while I commute or work at my office. Lately, I've had to constantly reopen the YouTube app and find and click on your videos after having just watched one. MSNBC has been popping up as the up next video way more often than normal, and it's gotten really annoying. And lastly, Michael says, David, after watching your video, I have to admit my recommendation feed has been bothering me. A subscriber, I don't see you, Kyle, or Sam Cedar. The last 2 weeks have been particularly horrible. Some folks have written in and said, David, what about just going to another platform? I'm invited to 3 alternative platforms every week. The problem is they have no traffic, they have no funding, they have terrible design, and they have no monetization. So there's no actual advantage to switching over to a platform that earns no money and has no audience. So here's the bottom line, okay? I think this is how we have to think about shows at this point in time. I am a service worker. We all are at the show and who are at other shows that you might watch or like. We aren't producing a physical product. We're producing something in the service space. It's like someone who works as a bartender or cleaning houses or whatever. Sometimes those jobs are paid with a salary. Sometimes they're paid hourly. Sometimes in the United States, there's the expectation of tips, which are, of course, optional. And we can evaluate whether a tip makes sense. So wait staff at restaurants, for example, they often make $2.63 an hour. That's their hourly wage. So when I go out to eat, I tip 20% whenever I go out to eat. I don't have to. I value their work and I think their wage is too low, so I choose to pay a 20% tip. In the same way, you are under no obligation to pay directly for shows that you like. We produce this show at our expense for you. We distribute it to 200 public radio and television stations at our expense because we want to do that. That being said, we have no guaranteed wage for many of our platforms. We give the show to radio and TV stations. We put the show on YouTube and many of the videos are demonetized and earn no money there. And YouTube's changes are hurting us. If we don't do well in the tips, meaning contributions from you, there is no backup. We don't get any experience or seniority raise from the platforms that we're on. And in fact, the opposite has mostly been happening over the year. Now, I still give my employees seniority raises and merit raises and cost of living adjustments. I just eat those costs. If you like the job we are doing for you here, think of us as the waitstaff or your bartender, but instead of being guaranteed some minimum wage, we're not. So you can choose to leave a few bucks a month. And I don't care if it's this show or others. It's about supporting the shows you think are important and valuable. There's 2 really easy ways to do this. Get a membership right on our website. It takes under a minute. You get lots of extra stuff, but you are sort of tipping like you would a waiter or a waitress. The normal prices, I think, are very reasonable. Many of you have signed up in the last month. If you want a discount, you can use the coupon code THISIS2020 and get 40% off. And I'll even go further and tell you you can use the coupon code HALF19 and get 50% off. The other is throw us a buck or two a month on Patreon. Okay, that's also easy. You go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, click the orange Become a Patron button, and that's it. You don't have to. I understand if you don't. Under 1% of the audience supports us financially. We're going to keep doing our thing, okay? But if you find it valuable, then I would appreciate it. Let's disconnect our revenue from advertising as much as possible. And to help us additionally, without paying anything, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, like this video, share this video.